Summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou wast, thou oust, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this and gives life to thee, and this gives life to thee. All right. What's it saying? A summer day is inferior to you. All of the images, down to the voltage, down to the change, all of the images are like, there's something wrong with a summer day. Here's a list of things that don't add up. It's too hot. The sun gets too, it gets too dim. Uh, uh, the winds shake the darling buds of May. You're more temperate than these things. Gold complexion dimmed, every fair from fair sometimes declines. Nature changes course untrimmed. But, but, you are not going to fade away like a summer day. It's like, shall I compare these to a summer day? Everybody thinks, oh, we're going to talk about a beautiful summer day. This is what's going on. This is part of the genius of Shakespeare, right? That he takes this idea where you think he's going to go in one direction, and in fact, he goes the opposite direction, and then comes back to the topic, which is the person he's addressing, not a summer's day. It has nothing to do with that. It is simply his example of something compared to, and it's. I think one of the things that my students have said to me when I would try to teach Shakespeare was that, damn, this guy, 500-year-old language. I don't understand the language. I don't understand the words. I don't get the vocabulary. Why is this important? You read these lines, and it's like it doesn't make sense to me, right? And it's very difficult. I found to teach Shakespeare. All right. Do any of you agree with this or disagree? It's difficult at this day and age to teach Shakespeare, but it's brilliant stuff. And it can be taught properly. I found a trick. I'll share a trick with you. I once had a professor at a different university who explained to me that the language as spoken during Shakespeare's time, the closest equivalent to it in the modern world was in Appalachia, in the United States, because people from that era immigrated into the U.S. and then they got isolated and they kept to themselves. So actually, when people try to give you this, oh, it's the old English accent or all that, they're all wrong. You're going to talk like a coal miner if you're going to read Shakespeare, and then it makes more sense. Add upon it, I have. Let's see. Add upon it, I have no. No, that's James Silken. Um, what's the name of it? I can't remember. I was going to recite some Shakespeare in Appalachian, but I can't. Anyway, if it comes back to me, I'll do it. Oh, I could do it. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. Does it make some sense? It's a little easier to understand.
Well, they found that because they modern.
Yep. Oh, I remember what it was. But soft, but light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Doesn't it sound? Students understand it. Yeah, exactly so. Yeah, yeah. Great movie, by the way.
found, time, like, that's experience I had, I decided to switch out that umbrella. Um, It's just one meeting, meeting that for that age group. Certainly, jealous and we have we're in crime. His condition. God. It's just,
Yeah, if you can get them into it, they'll.
yeah.
It- Yep.
One road in.
Yep. One road in, one road out. Okay, let's stop looking at other people's stuff. Why don't we do some guided writing right now? Um, I'm going to mention some potential prompts that you can use, but you can also use anything that pops into your mind if you want to write about it. But here's what your instructions are, and then I'll tell you what the prompts are and what we're going to do with it. I want you to write freely for whatever you choose as your topic for 10 minutes, listing as many items as you can. Don't worry about being poetic and don't worry about rhythm and don't worry about that. Just make a list. Check it twice. We'll find out who's naughty and nice. Uh, um, you know, using a list poem to generate poetry is sort of like it's gathering. It's gathering information that you can then manipulate and change and move around. So I want you to list without editing, just list what it comes into your mind from whichever prompt you choose or whatever prompt you decide to use on your own that isn't, because none of these agree with you. Don't worry about form, rhyme, grammar, spelling, whatever. Just list them, okay? And then, and I'll give you 10 minutes to do it. Here's some potential prompts that you can use if you would like. An inventory of small joys. Uh, Instructions for forgetting. Uh, what I couldn't say. The things I didn't keep. If the world ended tomorrow. Or whatever you damn well please. Choose a topic, write for 10 minutes. I'll be your timer. It's 4:57 now. Excuse me? That's okay. We'll give her the materials and she'll catch
That's
up.
another poem right there.
great. It's gonna meet you in Brooklyn. Yeah. Yeah. Brooklyn's mom, Teresa. Yeah.
Anything for that microphone. Where's the screw?
This is what fell out.
Oh, it's missing the piece on the side.
Yeah, that was never in there.
Yeah. Okay, about as good as it's gonna get. Just point that right to you and then don't touch it anymore.
Okay.
I don't know what happened, but we lost the feed. I started a new one and no one's joined us. sitting there.
Okay, 10 minutes. Now, here's what I want you to do with what you've got. Okay, I want you to circle or underline any lines that you see that have an emotional charge or that stand out from the rest of the list items that you put there. Something that you think, ooh, this is the good one, or this is the one that makes the change. Remember when we did the Carolyn Forche poem and everything seemed mundane and blasé until we got to the line that said, the moon swung bare on its black cord over the house. And we said, that's a change of mood that goes on. The moon hung by a black cord. It goes from being blasé to somehow something disturbing is going on, something negative is going on, and then it gets continually worse from that point on. It's sort of like, we talked earlier, you guys, in the back, we talked about the volta, the thing that happens in a Shakespearean sonnet towards the end where he's discussing something and putting a certain mood on something, and then suddenly he changes. There's a change in mood. It's the volta. There's the change. See if you've got a line in there that's a change line that changes, that's different from all of the other lines that you've got in your list. As you look at what you're doing there, reorder the lines. If it makes some sense, now you're saying these are ideas I can put into a corner, into a poem. Let me see if I can rearrange them so that it makes some sort of sense for them to be in this order. You can introduce, if you want, a refrain or a question or an echo line, if you want to repeat something. Or you can make every line start with the same words. Because I went to, it became. You can start every line with the same phrase if you want to make it repeat, or you can reuse that as a repeat every 3 or 4 lines to bring the images back together. You don't have to do any of this, but you can add repetition, short transitions, or as you're doing this, you may say, oh, I see where this is going. You can add a final twist to it, add your closing, add your conclusion at the end. Take about 5, I'll give you about, I'm gonna give you about 7.5 minutes to do your revision. Because we don't want to run into the time where there's the reading. Okay, it's 5:15. People have revised drafts. Who would like to read theirs?
I can read one, I guess. Somebody's gotta be first.
Okay, let me make a couple of comments before you start out. The rest of you, as you're listening to Al's poem, try to keep in your mind, maybe even write down, make a note of any vivid moments of contrast that you see in there. So something that's really a vivid line for you that you liked. An effective use of rhythm or accumulation, ways that it's becomes a narrative as opposed to just a list of things, becomes a story, ways that it's emotional. And I always like to, I always hope that people will keep their comments on the positive level rather than the negative level. Don't say, that's a piece of crap. That, that- that's really bad, but I like the image of that line surprised me. It made me think about optionally, you might, if you wanted to say something negative, it might be, I think that line was right on the way. Maybe you want to expand that or something along those lines, but try not to diss somebody if you can. So, well, teachers, I look only at the teachers when I say that.
We'll be silently grading you in our head.
Yes. Okay, Al.
Because I love you, I do not tell you I don't like pasta. I don't like vinaigrette salad dressing. I don't like your haircut short. I don't like the pictures you hung on our living room wall. I do not like the dress you wore at our grandson's wedding. I do not like cut flowers in a vase. I do not like high heels because they are impractical and a good way to break an ankle. I do not like to bite my tongue around your snooty family. But I do, because I love you.
Oh. Well, I'm grateful that Carol is not here. No. She'll understand it. She'll laugh.
Yeah, she's probably seen me grimace many times.
Yeah. Comments?
Wonderful one. I liked the humor paired with the intensity of emotion that we feel for our loved ones and the things we choose to not to say or not to express are at times just as important as all of the thoughts we do express.
Yeah. And the tenderness of paying such attention. Noticing all of those things. I love that. Very tender.
Well, and the detail of it lets you know that it comes from the heart. It's not abstraction. It's like concrete. It's very concrete. It's very straightforward, and therefore it communicates really well to the listening audience, right?
It's also very, I don't know, universal. Not the word I'm thinking of. Any of us that have been in a relationship can access that whole set. We have our own list, perhaps, an entirely different list, but we can access that, so that makes it fun. Because it's like, okay, it's not just me.
That would be a good list poem, wouldn't it? It's not just me.
It's not just
Yeah. Who else would like to share their list poem? Go for it, Susan.
Okay, I'm not sure what the title of this is. It's about why I'm fearful of my first grandchild visiting. Why I'm afraid of my first grandchild visiting. Anyway, because of the Amazon box full of styrofoam that sticks to the mini crib slats and flies in the air. Because of the high chair, half in and half out of the box with straps, my husband still can't figure out. How to hold her securely with her bobbing back and my wobbly balance. Stairs to the bedroom where the porta crib will be, slippery socks. Her cheeks I want to touch like velvet. Her lush legs, so tender and pink. The way her eyes sparkle in the video. That smile I wish I could capture when she hears my son's voice in the background. Clear list of approved apparatus, non-toxic materials. The used stroller my friend gave me in the garage, soiled with what I see as love, like they see as danger. My husband and I, our quiet ways as we've aged, and then I kind of spread out of time. Just sort of, I'm trying to create a little tension between the joy and the fear of, all of that.
Their rules are all different.
I'll
No offense,
say,
Danielle, 'cause you're in this
Oh,
generation.
oh, no, no,
Your
I
rules
had
are
my
different
list of
than ours.
rules. They
It's
were
all-
different. They
It's
were very
also-
different.
Yeah.
it's also new. It's
Yeah,
very,
it's
very new.
it feels like a minefield.
Yeah, it does.
In other words, you're saying that it's relatable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that the information is there, and a poem can be made of that.
Can we what?
A poem can be made of that.
Yeah.
That is the basis, that can be the basis of a very effective emotional poem that deals with something, with a subject matter that most of us at some point in our lives will deal with. You
Yeah, it's
know,
gonna
I had
Figure it out,
Oh,
and then
most
and then
definitely.
reshape it, but that would be.
It's
You
not
know,
going yet, but it's.
no, and I had that when my children had children, and I suddenly had grandchildren, and my God in heaven, I'm about to face within the next few years great grandchildren, and that's going to be even more difficult because so much time has changed and society has changed so much that I'm not sure how I'll be able to handle that. In fact, tonight, later on, one of the poems I think I'm going to read is a future think poem about having dinner with a great granddaughter, and how that's going to affect. It's the same kind of thing. Life changes, times change, values change, what's important to people change. I mean, when I was a kid, what did you do after school? Did you go and play soccer or football or take dance lessons or Tai Chi or, no, you took your .22 rifle and you went in the woods and you shot snakes, and you came home when it got dark and you rode your bike and you did things and nobody, I mean, that's what childhood was. It was free and open
Come
and
home until dark.
come home when it was dark, go over to a friend's house and have their mom call your mom and say, he's eating over here, he's safe, and that's it. People weren't so, but when my kids had kids, it was not like that. They had, everything was structured and safe and we're afraid of this and afraid of that. And,
I've written a poem about that part. too,
There
at
you
the
go.
parks today.
Yeah.
In fact, just worked on that. But also, and the fact that I just thought of this, she's a girl. And we're gonna raise boys, so that's a big thing too. So that's gonna be part of it.
Okay, make sure to make a note.
I did.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's a girl.
Robin, would you like to read yours?
I do not want to share what I wrote. It's very dark.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I usually do, but I'm.
It's very dark, she said with a smile.
You don't- yeah, you don't know
That's
what I
okay.
wrote.
Well, I'm going to read some dark things tonight, so,
Yeah,
but
that's
that's
fine.
okay.
You
That's
go for
okay.
it.
It's my thing.
I'm afraid to do it here.
Okay. Ruth?
Mine is short and light. So, um, consider the way a cat's purr warms you. Consider the flounce of cloudless sulfur butterflies. Consider the joust dance of two male mockingbirds. Consider the lift of singing in parts. Consider the texture of perfectly cooked salmon. Consider finding the perfect gift or writing a poem that comes out of nowhere.
Okay. Notice that now in this, she used repetition, which is a classical technique that is used in list poems. It's not necessarily used on every line, but it oftentimes is. There's several several poems, my famous poems that I know that are exactly structured as that way, and come down to a coda, something on the very end that draws it together. Even though as you go through it line by line, you may not see what the structure is, but when you get to the last line, you do. You understand that it's there are connections between what's going on with these lines. All right. Any other comments?
Could you read those last two lines again?
Okay, consider finding the perfect gift or writing a poem that comes out of nowhere.
I love that.
Really?
Yeah, you got somewhere. I thought it struck me immediately because, first of all, to equate, we are among poets here, so it works. But to equate the perfect gift with coming up with a poem out of nowhere, it's like that is the perfect gift for me. It sure would be, right? So, but also the way that it gives an audience a fresh way of thinking of what would be the perfect gift. It isn't necessarily a Maserati with a ribbon on it. It can be something that is more lasting. Yes.
Use the language sulfur, did you say sulfurous?
Sulfur butterflies.
Those are that, your language is beautiful.
That got clunky though, because I use their full names, the cloudless sulfur butterflies.
Yeah, but that adds to the beauty. I love that kind of description. Yeah. Shows it speaks of you as a poet.
Yeah, well, and I love it when the actual technical name of something is so beautiful that you can use it in a poem. You know.
Me too.
It's really nice. It's really nice. Well, let's see. We got two more so far, and then maybe three or four.
I'll share. So I sort of committed to whatever you said the first prompt was. That was my commitment. I'm just going to write about that. As I mentioned, I don't feel like this is my best writing time of the day. So fewer choices I thought will get me writing faster. But I did notice like that shift as I was writing the list where it felt like my list sort of came alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, here's something starting to happen. I'm still not sure what. So I've titled this Saturday Afternoon Thoughts. I pull fresh sheets from the dryer and remember that time I deep cleaned the pantry and found a bag of dark chocolate. And how that discovery felt like a kid on Easter morning. I suggested to my husband that perhaps if he hid chocolate, I'd be more motivated to clean. He laughed the way he did on that mosquito-less summer night we spent in the Nevada desert. But I wasn't kidding. Just like I wasn't kidding when I told him our girls got my looks and his smart mouth. Or that I was going to take my clippers with me on an evening walk in the dark to snip a few stems from the azalea bush to propagate. The sheets with their tiny flowers remind me of the drive to Virginia for a funeral for a man I never knew, and how I told my friend when I arrived there were miles of daffodils along the highway and no sign to say who planted them.
It's really beautiful imagery. I love the CDs. I love the immediacy of it. How you start the poem. When you're folding
Poem sheets.
full sheet. I mean, that to me draws me into the poem immediately.
And it's interesting. Yeah, what you did here is kind of like what some of the what Carolyn Forche did in her prose poem. It's like it sounds like a poem already, as opposed to a list. But if you examine it image by image by image and where you went with it, it is a list. It is a list of things. It's just the list is longer. We tend to think of a list of it as a laundry list. I'm going to do this in 5 words. I'm going to do this in 3 words. I'm going to do this in 2 words. Whereas a list can be a paragraph. This is one paragraph is one part of the list, and the next paragraph is another part of the list, and the next paragraph is another part of the list, or the next phrase is another part of the list. We don't have to limit ourselves to what we saw in the example of why we oppose pockets for women, where it literally is just a line, one-liners. Literally just is one-liners, or Carolyn Forche, where she's doing sentence by sentence by sentence by sentence. And it doesn't look at all like a list poem would look like, but it is. I heard it in it.
Sure. And I started with that, the small joy prompts.
Yep.
And it was interesting when you were talking initially about this idea of a list poem. I thought about links and linking things together in a list. And I feel like that maybe is how I ended up approaching it, kind of more like Carol did in her poem. With, it is a list. It's a list of the small joys, but somehow it comes together.
It's a story.
As a story, almost. Yeah, it's hybrid.
Yep.
Your poem reminded me of doing something mundane and have some sort of cleaning, whatever, and you start remembering trips you've taken. So you have this, it's almost like you're daydreaming backwards or something. Suddenly you're really nice. Yeah, right.
No
I like
mosquitoes.
that a lot. No mosquitoes.
Brooklyn, did you have something?
Yeah.
We're going to save Jim for that.
I made a list about my cat Lady because she's the first thing that came to mind. She usually is. So what I came up with is I just titled it Lady the Cat. Playful little royal gesture, laughs and leaps then lands on pillowy paws, hutch, a pause, a final spin, a bow, a meow before she purrs a rhythmic song.
And she came in late.
She has a very distinct way that she moves around, so I wanted to capture that because she's like a little, she slinks around and is always jumping and moving.
And her first list was alliteration.
It was. It felt really light. Things are moving around. I could tell. The alliteration helps that too.
I love it.
You can even put more of that just to get it more.
Yeah, it's a good little story. I kind of want to keep working.
Yeah.
I read about Lady a lot, actually. I think I have a poem
You
about
read
her.
a piece about her when I was.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that makes sense. That I would do that. Yeah, I have another one tonight. So.
Nice.
I can't see the poem, but I feel like the structure really matches the topic. Like it's light, it's small, and it sort of moves around with ease. Like it's unencumbered. And so I appreciated like that match with the form and the content.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'll go ahead and take a swing.
Okay, wait. This is the
Carrie.
first time I've ever heard her was ever.
Because last time I tried this was probably 50 years ago. I'm definitely a fish out of water. And don't think I'm going to impress anybody, but it definitely was pretty introspective to do this as an exercise. And the small joys in life are changing me. The joy of waking up in the morning, knowing my precious spouse is by my side. The joy of calling my father and hearing the energy in his voice when he gets the call. The joy of seeing my daughter on the weekend and looking forward to catching up with her. The joy of stopping the world while sharing a ride on the motorcycle with my wife. The joy of waking up in the morning and knowing that I can repeat many of the same joys above. And the older I get, the small joys have become the most valued joys.
Your dad's now in competition.
I know. I almost get it
Race
from
is on.
somewhere.
No, trust me, she didn't get it from me. So, but enjoy hearing her poetry and supporting it.
I liked the repetition. It reminded me of one of the examples, the because, and it sort of reiterates the focus of just finding those small joys in unexpected places.
And because you use simple language too, like it was very like concrete, and I think that also emphasized the fact that like joy is simple to you in the context of that book.
You know me well enough for this, so I'm an engineer, right, so everything's. Yeah, I am fish out of water with anybody.
FYI, that's what you're supposed to do with poetry. You're not supposed to tell, you're supposed to show. So it has to be concrete images. It's just, you work on those, try and make them more and more lively, but that's what you're doing. So you're on the right track right away. You're talking to someone here who wrote her first poem when she was 62, so you're good.
Okay, how about Teresa? Did you write something?
Stopping the world. Did you say stopping the world when you're on the motorcycle?
Yeah.
That line really jumped out at me. That was somehow, that was just like, I like that so much.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
I totally got that line because I used to ride. Yeah, it's like,
That's a great one.
it's a great line.
Sir James,
You know,
did you write a song?
I took the one things I couldn't say, and I was so honest in it that I do not want to share it.
You don't want to say
See,
it.
I did the same one, and it's, yeah.
Still don't want to
No.
say it.
I still can't
What
say it.
about off
Oh, listen.
camera
But
after
it's here.
hours?
It's here,
I'll read it to myself.
yeah.
No,
If
no.
I'd written that poem, I probably wouldn't have read it out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know about your case, but in my case, it's something that I haven't been able to this point to address with myself, I guess is the way to put it. And it's a very hard thing. So thank you for the prompt. You made me start thinking about something that
Well, you'll write something dark and beautiful.
well, I don't know. And we'll see where I go with it, but if I ever get it to the point where I say, okay, that's a poem, I'll send it to you.
Okay, you got my number. Easy to find, or we see each other on the board, so there you go. So let me ask you a question. Do you think thinking about poetry in this way, because it's relatively rare, in my experience, it's relatively rare where in a poetry class poetry classes that I've taken during the time that I was in that phase of things, where people ever talked about list poems. It was not a subject matter that was taught in one way or another. It was either considered too simple or whatever. But did any of you think that this might be something that could help you in your future writing poetry? What do you do if you're sitting there and it's Sunday morning at 3:30 and you can't get back to sleep, and so you sit up and you say, okay, I'm going to write a poem. I just had an idea in my head, and you write down whatever you said that you whatever your head told you there, and then you stare at the blank page, or you stare at the blank screen, depending on which generation you're from, and you don't know what to do. Would it be helpful to just start listing things, as a technique to get the writing flow started? For me, it is. I don't know about other people.
Definitely. Plus because of the nature of listing, you're listing things that do end up being those concrete images that you need to weave into a good poem. So it kind of forces you to start with more interesting language and things like that's what you're like, it's not finished because I just thought of this and I just thought that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So listing is a good technique for that, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I think it's easier to write a list. Like if you say I'm going to write a poem, you could probably just sit there but I'm going to write a list of whatever I came up with like 20 things, right? In no time at all. So it is, yeah, it's a great way of getting started, especially if you're kind of in a little bit of a writer's block.
Yeah.
So, I think, I'm wondering, I wanted to ask you, do you think, like, in these examples or any others that you might end up calling a list poem, do you think that the person really sat there first writing a list or thought of it as a list poem?
That's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that question because it's so seldom discussed. The concept, yes.
That gave me a thought, so I was going to say, I feel like this is kind of the process that I use often like, for writing poetry, but I never considered that like there was like a name for it or that other people do it. But I feel like I often jot down lists of things that I want to start off with, and then I expand upon them, and then I look at that list and
Yeah.
okay, why is this significant to me? So I think it is kind of a natural way of like kind of coming up with stuff. So and I didn't realize. So I guess to answer your question, like I've made list poems, but I've not realized them.
Yeah, it's a pretty natural thing. So, Al, do you think this helped or did it annoy you?
Well, I'm kind of irritated with it, really, because I don't like writing something that I won't share. But I wouldn't share this because if my wife heard it, then she would be hurt or offended in some way. And I don't, you know, and then you'd go through she would fix something and say, does this agree with you?
Well, there's a reason you've chosen not to say it.
Yeah, I mean, because, if you're gonna be in a relationship, you're gonna be in a relationship and it's gonna work. If you wanna be right on everything, don't have a relationship. Because there are many ways to look at things, and sometimes it's more important for her, so you let her be right. And sometimes it's more important for me, so she lets me be right. Even though both sides would work, and that's how a relationship works. But she probably is aware sometimes of some of these things, although, I wouldn't ever tell her I don't like your haircut short, because she was so proud when she did it. She said, I cut my hair today, do you like it? You like it? Yes, if you like it, dear, it's great. And we went to the wedding, and I wouldn't tell her I didn't like the dress.
Yeah, that's always a big mistake.
Oh,
Mistake, right, because I can tell you, it's a big mistake.
Well, I know, because some of my wisdom comes from being stupid in the past. But the other, and like flowers, I really don't like cut flowers. They're dead. Once you cut them, they're dead. But every couple of weeks, I'll buy her because she wants. And that's part of being in a relationship.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
She even watches NFL sometimes on Sunday because
There's this quote from this rom-com I like, and it's called like, often we like because, but we love despite, and that's what that reminds me of.
Okay, well, I hope you've all had some fun. It's basically 5:45, so I think there's time to visit the restroom and take a stroll around the enormous building with no signs of where you're going to be. And then we'll be back here at 6:00 to hear Brooklyn Brown.
Grab random people.
Well, I left it at the hotel with Dawn.
Room 103.
It could be slow. I'll look at
So yes, he's coming for this, he didn't want to come to the workshop.